So it looks like Marvel Studios had a lot bigger plans for the Hulk in the MCU than we realized. According to recent reports, the Hulk is going to appear in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Multiple insiders have seemingly confirmed that this is true, and we have a lot of new details about the Hulk's specific role in the next Spider-Man film. As it turns out, he might be a villain of the film, but ultimately, I think that this is a good thing because it will ultimately lead to the return of Savage Hulk. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Cosmic Wonder. In our last video about the Hulk being in Spider-Man Brand New Day, at the time it was just announced that the Hulk is going to play a decent sized role, but since then we have learned a lot of new information. Now, the original report comes from Nexus Point News. Then other insiders like Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus backed up this report. And then the person who was at the Disney Consumers Product Convention, who saw the sizzle reel of Spider-Man 3 and reported that some villains like Scorpion, Tombstone, and Boomerang were going to appear in the movie, came out again with some more information about the film, stating that the Hulk is actually going to be kind of the main antagonist of the film. Now, what's interesting is this was kind of the plan that Marvel Studios had before. If you recall, about 4 months ago, we heard reports that Spider-Man was going to go up against Hulk or Hulks in Spider-Man 4. Now, this was before Marvel Studios decided to do all of their changes. They have now moved Avengers Doomsday, delayed it to release after Spider-Man Brand New Day. And several insiders and outlets have come out and stated that, yes, they moved things around for the story of the overall multiverse saga, but of course also so they have more time to work on Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. So this might have been their plan before, to bring the Hulk in Spider-Man 4 and do something to get him to Hulk out once again, finally giving us Savage Hulk, because Marvel Studios, they listen. They know that's what fans want. That's what we're used to. And just honestly, that is the most entertaining. But this is probably going to be somewhat like a Batman versus Superman situation where Hulk is the main antagonist of the film. But of course, by the end, him and Spider-Man team up to fight another villain who might be Mr. Negative. That's what we've been hearing recently. And perhaps with all of these villains that are being reported to be in the film, perhaps it's Mr. Negative that could be behind everything. Maybe in an attempt to take out Spider-Man, he gets all of the other villains to try to do so for him, and when that fails, he unleashes the Hulk, causing him to go savage again. And since Spider-Man, of course, knows who he is, after having fought with him and the Avengers in Avengers Endgame, he might take it upon himself to try and stop him and calm him down. But apparently, we are in for a hell of a treat when it comes to Spider-Man Brand New Day action scenes in general, but specifically a huge stunt scene that they are reportedly filming for Spider-Man 4 that is reportedly going to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, action stunt scenes that Marvel Studios has ever done. This report is coming from Alex Perez at thecosmiccircus.com, and it is crazy if Marvel Studios really is preparing to do this. When speaking of this particular huge stunt scene, he stated, Marvel is preparing to film one of the MCU's biggest, if not the biggest, stunt sequences for Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's expected to take upwards of a month to shoot and will be a practical sequence, though that doesn't mean the Hulk can't be added in after the fact, seeing as the Jade Giant is typically portrayed through motion capture on set. So basically what he's stating here is it's going to be all practical, and obviously you don't really have a practical Hulk. You can't really have a person in a Hulk suit jumping around, smashing into buildings, trying to grab Spider-Man. They've used motion capture for the Hulk for over a decade now. There's only so much a practical Hulk could do on the set, so of course they use CGI for it. And that's all he's saying here is, although it's going to be practical, they can still just add the Hulk in after. But he continues and states, the scene will be filmed outside in what, in the movie, will be a heavily populated area, suggesting this fight will play out in the streets of New York. And understandably, there's expected to be a large amount of safety coordination. Now, all of this information combined together sounds amazing. The Hulk in Spider-Man Brand New Day, hulking out again, being savage, losing so much control that he's actually fighting Spider-Man in what could be one of the biggest MCU stunt sequences of all time. Then on top of that, you have to consider this. The director of Spider-Man Brand New Day is Destin Daniel Cretton, the director of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And the fight sequences in that film were amazing. And on top of that, Peng Zhang, the stunt coordinator for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, is also going to be the stunt coordinator for Spider-Man Brand New Day. So for those worried that Marvel Studios might mess up this huge stunt sequence, we have people on the project with a proven great track record with stunt sequences. And I think that maybe this particular scene, or just the Hulk's involvement in Spider-Man Brand New Day, is going to be very important for his involvement in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Now, first things first, I'm incredibly glad that if all of these reports are true, we are getting the Savage Hulk back, the Hulk that we deserve. However, what I do think is going to happen is we are essentially going to get the same Bruce Banner / the Hulk that we got in the very first Avengers film, with possibly a little bit of a twist. Here's what I mean. The reason I think the Hulk is going to go so savage in Spider-Man Brand New Day and be the villain is because we're essentially going to be dealing with a super repressed Hulk. In Avengers Infinity War, Hulk didn't want to come out anymore. That showed us that, of course, he has a mind of his own and he's kind of temperamental, obviously. So, since then, Bruce Banner has done a lot to basically suppress him. In Thor Ragnarok, we had a time where it was only the Hulk in control. When Bruce Banner woke up, he had no idea what had happened. The same thing's gonna happen for the Hulk. When he finally gets unleashed, he's going to be confused and then he's gonna be mad that he was suppressed for so long. And it's this combination right here that is going to lead him to become the so-called villain of this film. And I think that Bruce Banner might actually have to come pretty close to death for the Hulk to be released again. If they're gonna play off the same logic and story that they told us in the very first Avengers film, which was Bruce Banner tried to kill himself. He stated he got low and he put a bullet in his mouth to try to end it, but the Hulk spit it back out. Tony Stark also said he should have died to the gamma exposure, but he hinted that the Hulk saved him. So although right now he kind of has somewhat of a mini Hulk body and he manages to be in control of the Hulk form, the true Hulk is not there. But if Bruce Banner was about to die and that device that he was wearing to kind of keep himself in check got broken, then theoretically, and based on the logic that we've already heard in the MCU, the Hulk should keep Banner alive, but this would make the Hulk come back out again. And plus, to add on top of that, Bruce Banner almost dying, perhaps his consciousness, his control that he's always had with the Hulk, perhaps that would go away due to his almost fatal encounter with whatever might happen to him. So I think the Hulk gets extremely angry, which is what he does, but I also think he gets that angry because he is very confused when he finally gets let loose again, and Bruce Banner will have zero control. However, I think this changes by the end of the movie, and by the end, Bruce kind of gets control over the reins of the Hulk again. But now the Savage Hulk can come back out when Bruce Banner needs him to, which is going to be Avengers Doomsday. But knowing Bruce Banner, I still think he's going to put somewhat of a safety precaution for him to not ever fully lose control again. And that could be where him and Peter actually work together to build the device, because of course, Peter is a genius. But that would mean there is of course going to be a bigger villain of the film, and I do believe it could be Mr. Negative. We've heard that a lot of villains are going to appear in this film. We've recently heard Tarantula is going to appear in the movie. Now, of course, none of this is confirmed yet. These are just reports, but it does sound like there are going to be many different villains. The Hulk is going to be one of them, but we are going to have a main villain of this film, of course. It could be Mr. Negative, but there have been talks about a lot of different possibilities for female villains in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Today, even recently, the insider My Time to Shine Hello stated that Nicole Kidman is in talks to play the lead villain for the film. So we'll have to wait and see on who the main villain is, but also keep in mind that since Avengers Doomsday is now happening after Spider-Man Brand New Day, they are most likely changing a bit of the story, especially if Spider-Man and the Hulk are going to appear in Avengers Doomsday, which we assume they are. So a lot of new developments are probably going to happen in the near future for Spider-Man Brand New Day, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Spider-Man and of course Marvel news, rumors, or leaks. Don't forget to like this video and let us know what you think about all of this news in the comments down below. Do you like the Hulk being the villain of Spider-Man Brand New Day or not? Let us know. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.